You are now listening to the Young Black and Figuring It Out podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at YoungBlackFIO or on Facebook at Young Black and Figuring It Out. For all questions or inquiries, send your emails to ybfpodcast20@gmail.com. But if you really want to make a statement while showing your support, go to www.youngblackfio.com to purchase some merchandise. We truly appreciate your love and support. On behalf of the YBF team, thank you.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Herb.
And it's your girl Mo.
And welcome to our soon-to-be world-renowned podcast, Young, Black, and Figuring It Out. What up, though?
What it do?
Man, whatever we tell it, we here.
That was a deep sigh.
It's the last episode ever. No, I'm playing.
Don't be doing that to the people. I'm mad because he had me for a second. I was like, is it?
He was like, damn, this is it. Now, y'all, this has been a great season.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
Yeah. Absolutely amazing.
What a beautiful year on so many levels.
Yeah, we got such a great topic today. We actually going to do something special and reflect on the 5 seasons. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Yes, the 5 seasons of YBF.
Man, what a monumental thing. Like, you know, it's like, what a big deal.
What a journey.
There's so many podcasts, I think, that start and never get that far or don't continue for whatever reason. So it's like, look at us.
Yeah.
I'm proud.
Like a commitment, trying to do it on their own in the attic.
Schedule conflict.
Yeah. Trying to make it happen. Man, cell phone podcast. But I respect that, though, people being creative. But we actually, committed, locked in.
Found a way to make it work.
Yeah. Are we doing what we figured out for the last one?
I don't think so, because I think this episode we're telling them how we figured these things out.
This whole episode of what did you figure out?
Yeah.
Beck, I want to try to do that. So, yeah. It's okay. Listen, y'all. So, you got me correct. It's 4 years, 5 seasons.
4 years that we have been producing podcasts out, like you've been receiving them, but the journey and the process started 5 years ago.
Yeah, right. Facts.
There was a lot of stuff that happened that first year, was that 2020?
Yeah.
That, never made it to the podcast.
Yeah, let's talk about that stuff. So, let's talk about how the vision came about, because there was the name came about randomly. You know the story about the drive.
I surely don't, because I think I was convinced that I came up with the name.
No, you did.
And then he kept saying he did, and I was like, I don't really remember, so clearly I don't know.
Nah. So this is how it actually came out. So I was and it was that and legacy. I forgot which part of legacy came up, like a consulting piece. But anyway, I was driving. So back in the day, when I was fresh out of college and driving from Vermont back through Canada to get to Michigan.
Yeah.
I I'm thinking my trip. So I was driving, and I just that time was always sacred to me, because you can actually reflect a lot, think about things. And
True.
When I was driving one time, I was just thinking about what's the 3-year plan? This might have been around the time of the letter. It was right before the letter. That's what because it made it into the letter. So I was driving, and it was just a bunch of stuff had come to me about what I wanted the next 3 years to look like. And one of which was I'm like, yo, a podcast. And it's just that exact phrase, Young, Black, and Figuring It Out. Just came. It was not pieced together. It wasn't me trying to really think. It just, the words popped up, which that don't happen often.
Right.
Where the universe or something so deep in your subconscious, it just come forward. But it just happened it was given to me.
I will concur and just say that must be it, because
I remember
he presented the idea of a podcast to me.
Yeah. Well, the thought originally was doing that. It was a podcast, but it was actually doing a not-for-profit, because we had done the year before that, we had done this joint with this connection with, might have been a year before, 2 years before, connection with the school, at the school you used to work at and where I worked at.
Yeah.
And we had done the elite program.
Yes, we did. We created this program for, because I worked with elementary school kids, and I was trying to bring the young boys to get some like form of mentorship from college kids who can like show them all the different paths for their future and really inspire them. And so I took my kids to his school. He brought his kids to our school. Yeah. It was great. We had a really nice program.
Yeah. So the original thought while I was driving was like the podcast, but also doing like a not-for-profit where in the summertime there was like 6 weeks of education for kids that was either like it's gonna be middle school or whatever year, and they would go through that. So that was the thought, was that it would be that. And so that's still on the way. But the podcast part came first. So that was like the original name, but like actually bringing the details and bringing it to life was like a team effort, because Lord knows I had us trying all type of stuff.
I was like, I wish we had those notes. Do you remember?
Keep going.
Because like, so when he brought the idea to me, I think we were having a conversation at my kitchen table, and he was like, you know what we should do? And I was like, what? He's like, we should do a podcast. And I laughed. I was like, all right. And just like, thought he was joking. But he said it a few times after that, and then he's like, come on, let's, and I said, fine. And I was like, let's get on board and like talk through what would we talk about? What would it look like? What would be the purpose? Going through all those things. And I think before we got there, you were like, we probably need to review the things that could hinder this adventure between us.
Right. So like I'm a big believer in general that if you're going to do business with anybody, that you got to be aligned with them. And we'd already been aligned because we was locked in, but it was just like what could go well, what could not go well, how we going to avoid that. So just to work through that.
Yeah.
Which I think was very helpful to make sure we got ahead of any issues.
It was a really good conversation. I remember you saying distinctively, because at that point we had been friends for like 10 years, and you were like, nothing matters more than the friendship. So if the things aren't working out with the podcast, whatever, as long as we can keep our friendship and that foundation strong, we'll be fine. And I was like,
yeah, you know why I said that was because like my pops, just being real, in his last partnership, the last time he was married, they worked together. And so like, and then before that, it was two people who I know who, they was bros and went into business together, and neither one of them situations worked out because like the business and like what they were trying to do became more important than like the core of them being connected. And we say it all the time. We're like friends getting the business, partners getting the business, whatever. And then like it blows up. And at the end of the day, it's like, you could always start a new business, but like once the relationship is a wrap, you can't do nothing else.
Right.
So if this particular venture don't work out, we can go do something else. But if the core, relationship don't work out, then it's a wrap.
Right.
So anyway, so that was in the beginning.
I appreciate that. I mean, that told me that it was safe to try this new thing, because I was scared. Like the thought of doing anything kind of businessy was very odd to me. I was like, I don't have a business mindset. That's not how I think. And I don't know if he remembers all that, but I fully remember feeling that way. But when he said that, I was like, okay. If I can be safe enough to like risk this because I'm nervous, then why not? Why not try that? And I always thought he had such an entrepreneurial mindset anyway. So in my mind, I'm like, let me just, follow whatever you say. Sure. I'll just do it.
Yeah. And then we made it work. So originally, we're making it work. It's a long journey. So we at first was like, let's try to make this happen. So we had like looked up on Amazon and Googled some stuff like, let's get this podcast equipment. Like, it can't be that hard.
Yeah, it came in a box.
Yo, and I ain't gonna lie. We like, all right, we're gonna do this in your attic or upstairs, and we were like, well, we gonna make this work.
Yeah, I got a table. I got like a little tablecloth. We got those, I don't know what they're called, the foam things that you put on the wall for sound.
Oh, the soundproof joints.
Proofing things. Yeah. And then the box came with 2 headphones, 2 mics or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, and we were like, okay. And the sound thingy, whatever it's called, I don't know.
And listen, I'm tell you, we didn't even get that joint to work. Like, we didn't get to the point where the audio came through. Now, this is before you could do it on your phone and all that. This is like, again, this is 5 years ago.
Yeah. This is
4 or 5 years ago.
This was April by the time of 2020 when we were.
You'll be getting on no years, y'all. So this is.
It's 5 5 years ago.
Right.
But I'm trying to say, like, it's in the height of, like, the pandemic just started, is what I'm trying to say.
All right.
And so we're like, oh, I guess we got time to figure this out because I wasn't
Oh,
working.
that's right. We had time.
Yeah, I wasn't working at the time because the school shut down at that point. And they were just going to start doing, video soon enough. But in that time, I was like, all right, let's see. we there with headphones on and talking into mics, and he's messing with the sound machine thing to see if it makes sense. And
That joint was terrible.
it was, I think I kept saying, I can't hear as well in this one ear. And then one of the mics was better than the other. It was janky.
Yeah. That's a funny way to put that. That joint was jacked up. You're like, yo. And here's the one thing I will say that, and this is part of the Virgo in me, is that if something not gonna be right and look good, it's dead. Like it's 0% chance I'm going with it. So the fact that it went there, we like, yo, we gotta find another way to do this because this ain't gonna work. Like, the background was bad, the tablecloth was. I mean. It was janky.
Yeah, there was no light up there. There was just not. It wasn't
that
getting.
It was crazy.
You see some podcasts like, oh, visually this looks so stunning. Oh man, they sound so good. Yeah. It was all bad.
And I'm like, it's either gonna look like that or it's over. So yeah, all right, let's regroup. Time out. Audible. This is crazy.
Oh, man.
So we spent some months doing that. Yeah, sister was trying to help. This one was wild. So okay,
it was bad.
It did not go well. So then we're like, all right, let's figure this out. So I think this happened first. We're like, all right, we gonna go, but let's start with the other things that we can do. So we know we're gonna have a podcast,
right?
But I think we started with like figuring out the brand and how what's the brand value, what we working through. And then I think at one point I'm like, yo, because I had somebody who worked with me at the school who was dope. I'm like, yo, we don't want to be doing all this marketing and putting stuff together. And I'm a big believer. Like, I'd rather if I could do something myself and spend 20 hours doing it versus and make $100 versus me spending 5 hours, you know what I'm saying? But I'm only gonna make $15. I'd rather pay the money. I'd rather make less money and get my time back than like me doing it myself. And because it's people who excellent at all these things. Let them be great. Yeah. So we just want to be tapped in with Say So.
Yeah. And I was not opposed to Say So. I was just cheap. And I was like, I can do this. I can do the marketing. Clearly, that's easy.
I'm like, gang.
I mean, the best part is that our two heads, even though they didn't always see eye to eye on certain things, one would win out. And he was right, because Lord knows. Not only was she the best blessing, looking at what she does do, I'm like, how did you do that? I can't.
Son, it's no way. Thank you, Say So. We appreciate you. So we're like, all right, we got the marketing figured out. Now we got to figure out how to get to how we going to make our way to actually record this podcast and produce. So this is how I remember this. So I had, way back when, what's it, Rambo.
Yes.
We had done a podcast with a guy named Justin Rambo. I was like a guest on this podcast, the podcast called The Versatile Success.
Yes.
And so I was a guest on there, did that, cool dude, was kicking it. And I told him, like, yo, we trying to do this podcast. I'm like, but I don't want to, trying to make it work in the basement ain't going to cut it. He's like, oh, I actually was on another podcast with somebody, Wok. And he got the Asylum Studios, they got the podcast, and they doing X, Y, and Z. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, link us up. And the rest was history. And still to this day, Wok, you want to let the people know. Go ahead. Jump on Mike. Let them know what's going on. Tell them.
I think at some point there, too, we had done a podcast together.
Yes.
And that's where we actually got to know each other.
Okay, so, thank you. Remind me.
Somewhere in there. And then I want to say I also reached out to you a second time to be on my podcast with another guest. And then after that, we, created that relationship. You were like, yo, I like what you're doing. And, would you like to do X, Y, and Z? And we made it work.
The rest was history. Can you give them your own part, your background quick, just as we here? Give them just the reflections.
So me, I had started around the same time. Probably a year prior, I started the Asylum podcast from my living room. And I went through the same growing pains as y'all, but I'm a Virgo as well. And if it don't, if it's not gonna work out, and if it's not gonna sound like top tier quality, then
over.
then it's over. So, but I felt determined to do that, and I went through my own growing pains when it came to learning podcasting. To when by the time I was introduced to y'all, I had at least the equipment that I had down. I took a leap of faith on renting the studio space, not knowing how that was going to happen. And come COVID, I was still figuring it out myself. But the quality portion of it, started, that always came first for me. Like, it needs to sound and look good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and then and here we are 5 years later. I still go through all of my stuff, but like this, you guys have been here for the whole evolution of the actual studio, and it's evolved. All of us have evolved with it, and it's been a good a good journey here with y'all. So
yeah, we appreciate you. Yes, and Wak,
Sweet.
we started like we got in there. Wak was doing like editing and adding like clapping sounds.
Yeah.
We like, oh, we wouldn't have did none of that.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been jacked up.
Do you remember our first day recording?
Here?
Yes.
100%. You was nervous. You was
Oh
about to,
my gosh.
Listen, y'all. Listen, we got in here. We make this podcast. You the dope. We was doing a live action movie,
First
like a
of all.
sitcom.
Secondly,
I'm talking about Mo was sweating.
furthermore, okay, I have admitted to the people that I was nervous. I did not see it. I didn't have the vision. I didn't know what was going on. I was just following, right?
Yeah, our first episode.
Yes.
Remember what it was?
Can men and women be friends?
Yeah, that was crazy. That
Because
was lit.
I was so worried about like the brand, like what we represent together.
Yeah.
What are we going to talk about? How are we presenting ourselves?
Yeah.
Because I'm very big on privacy. How do I maintain my privacy?
Same.
All those kind of things.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for you, but
Yeah, I'm with you though.
so when he was like, okay, I got somebody, and I'm like, oh gosh, this is official. Now
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
Yeah, we putting headphones on. It's a microphone. It's like, oh my god.
Like they have done these things before. I have not. So like he had been a guest on like 2 podcasts at that point, and you had done a radio guest spot, and Monique Bonnet has done.
Yeah.
I have talked to strangers face to face.
Yeah. But you killed it though. You used to start that episode.
So sweet, and I really appreciate that.
But legit though.
I will say that we did not have cameras at that point. Like we were not being
It
recorded.
was all audio.
All audio. And then he and I think how our seating was, we were just facing each other across from one another. We both had laptops, and I was so nervous looking at the laptop, like trying to figure out what are we supposed to talk about next, what's coming up. Like all my anxieties were there. I had to close that thing. And once I was just like, what are we talking about?
It was like regular living room talk.
It's just a regular conversation.
Yeah, not a thing. That was dope. And the thing about that was that conversation was it really felt like something that we would talk about every day
In real life.
And that's the dope part about about podcasting. But this podcast for sure was just like, oh, we'll kick it like this all the time. And it was like, I think once we did the first one, we got this. And it was like, our first one was like Jay-Z, because y'all know Jay-Z don't write. So we just, it was one take.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So it was like, oh, bet. We was like, okay.
Yeah.
We good. We like, Wak? We straight? We
That
good?
was
Yeah. It's like, bet. We was out of there. So that was,
oh, man.
yeah, that was dope.
Yeah.
That was
And
dope.
I think we did that in October of 2020
That
when we
was
recorded
October.
it. It didn't come out yet, but it didn't drop till February 2021. But like that was the first time, and I was like, okay, I can see the legs. Like I can see where this can go and what we can do with it. Ooh.
Yeah.
But once we got those jurors out, then it was regular.
Yeah.
We became we got a system of like we meet every
2 weeks. We release that every 2 weeks. We know we flown. We come in the studio set up. We got it just became over time. We just like continue to advance and grow as an entire team. I think for real.
We do brainstorming meetings maybe once or twice a year to like flesh out what we want this season to look like, how we want the season to flesh out, and what we're trying to do this season, what changes we want to make.
Yeah, that's dope.
Let it always grow. I like that.
Question: what things were monumental moments you think for the brand and for the podcast? Like you would say, this right here was a turning point.
That's a good question. I think the series being Black and White Spaces when we came up with it. I think, and then having like guests come on who are willing to like participate and like almost like believed in us.
Yeah.
I think, oh my gosh, now you got me thinking of another one too. It's like, ooh, those might have been that might have been one of them.
The Being Black and White Spaces one was definitely one where we had guests for the first time. It was Holly and Daryl. And it's like, oh, this is a real thing.
Yeah. And it was a good episode.
That was a good episode.
Ooh.
And that started a series. Like that sparked into like a chain of things.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, who would have thought? I mean, that's the beautiful thing about, whenever I say beautiful thing, I think about Glorilla.
Okay.
Beautiful spirit. It's a beautiful spirit. My news suite.
Oh, Glow.
Bet. So, but nah, the beautiful part about it was like, literally, it's an idea. I think about this space, and it's probably just all of us here. Like, this was an idea at one point that became real. The podcast was a thought that became real. Like, Being Black and White Spaces was a thought that's not like a chain of things that has like hundreds and hundreds of views.
Yeah.
It's like, it's dope how a concept becomes like an idea, a plan, and an executed thing.
Yeah.
So that's actually really dope because we like, that's when I think it's Turning Point was doing that because it led to like the healthcare one, which was like a big deal. We did the education journey. Like that entire series, I think, has been a monumental turning point for the podcast for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah. What was the other one you had?
I was also thinking about the because like they said they're Virgos. I'm an Aries. I wasn't thinking about nothing more than saving money for my pockets. But like you were like, let's do like a trailer video and like announce that the podcast is coming. And I'm like, B. Who needs to do? I don't like to be on camera. No one ever believes me. They're like, you have a whole podcast. I promise you, the torture that they put me through to put myself on camera.
About that.
He was like, I know somebody. Jake.
Shout out to Jake.
Jake is so dope. Young, just like all about, I can make this look like this. I can do this. How you feel about it?
Drone shots. Oh, Jake was tough.
Dope. We came and recorded. He's yes, he is. He came and recorded us. Had us like, where were we? MLK Park. We were at my attic at one point, just talking, doing. Oh my gosh, I was like, I'm nervous. This is scary, but it came out so good. It was so. It just looked so professional. I was like, oh, this is real.
Nah, that joint was dope.
Yeah.
We got to get Jake back to do something else.
Yeah, we should do because it's the 5-year anniversary technically.
Yeah, we should do it. Yes, that's tough. And Jake, Michael said where he live in Maine, but he
so close, right around the corner.
Right around the corner. Jake, we gotta get you back. And we live in Vermont, and I think we definitely we gotta get Jake back. But now you're right. That was a big deal. I forgot about it because actually a turning point then was when we decided to do the video. When we decided to do video and
after
not just
season
audio.
1?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was huge. And podcasting is going to mainly visual now. So I'm glad we did that way back when.
Yeah, seasons ago.
Yeah, because people are listening less and watching more.
Yeah.
As a trend I'm seeing. So, that was huge.
Yeah.
That was a huge turning point.
That was a good time.
Remember the photo shoot?
Oh my gosh. When we had all our apparel.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
That was a turning point too, having the gear.
That is that we looked so good. Like we as a collective.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Shout out to all our models. We appreciate you.
Zaytoven, Amanda,
Dina.
Ty was there.
I see them. I see their faces. Jojo.
Leo
Joanna.
was there. Right?
Who?
Wasn't Tay and Jordan there?
Tay and Jordan came for a different segment.
Yeah, they came.
Yeah, we had because we also did those interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were completely different ones, weren't they?
Nah, because it's the same place. They must have been at different
same
times.
place, different times, different purpose. Yeah.
No, it's tough.
Yeah. Oh,
Kyle.
wow. Yes.
Yeah.
Man.
Damn.
A lot of support.
We done did some stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
It always seems to happen in the summer.
Yeah.
I feel like when the sun is shining, we do more.
So this is tough. Biggest lessons learned.
What are the biggest lessons I've learned doing this?
That we've learned in the podcast, yeah.
Okay, my personal biggest lesson, avoiding things that make you uncomfortable or nervous will never be the answer. I remember he had to sit me down like I was a child and talk to me. And he's like, do you want to do this? Because you're not showing up in the way that I need you to show up. Like, you're not showing up as a partner or as an equal. And I hated every second of that conversation because I had to admit that he was right and tell him, I'm afraid, B. I am scared. I've been scared for months and I'm avoiding it at every turn.
Yeah.
And he wasn't angry at me, but he was disappointed. And I think he was hurt. At least he didn't say it. I just felt that way. And disappointing him knowing this is supposed to be my partner in crime for this venture is so, I was like, oh God. Oh God.
Yeah, I don't get hurt, y'all, my man. No. No, I'm talking
Isn't that the best way to describe how hurt he was? So,
toxic masculinity out here.
I was like, oh gosh, I can't keep doing that. That's not okay. Not only is it putting more work on him, but it's like not helping me in any way. I'm not growing.
Yeah, I think the part of that too was one is knowing that I think you're actually good at this. So there's like not legit. There's like, you're actually good at, people like what you have to say. We was joking on the way here talking about like the quotables. They all was just stuff. Like I have no memorable lines.
Which I felt real jacked up about because I'm like, am I just not remembering your stuff?
Nah, but it's
that
just
might
like,
be it.
Nah, you got good quotables for real. And you just got a personality that I think people like gravitate towards. So my point of that conversation was like, even with all of that being true, how you do anything is how you do everything. So either gonna do it all in or not do it. You feel me? So I forgot about that.
Yeah.
What was the question? Oh, the lessons learned.
Yeah, what lessons did you learn?
I think from doing the podcast, it's like, and the lesson I'm still navigating is being cognizant of when something that you like enjoy doing can easily become like corporatized or becomes a business, and you can easily lose the sight of like, this is enjoyable. Like I would, and we do this for free.
Yes.
So, but if you want to sponsor us, please go back and listen to the beginning of this. You hear a beautiful voice telling you about ways that you can support us and things to do. So just putting that out there, please, and buy some merch. But so it's like the whole concept is, legacy and leaving a legacy. And this right here is a time capsule for anybody. Like, so, if kids in the picture or, people want to go back and see, like, if we want to go back and see, this is a legacy and that's the point. But trying to like the business aspect of it, if that gets in the way of the art, then it's like, that's what you got to be aware of, because then it becomes diluted, not real, and I can see how, even on this scale, I can see how that can be impactful. So I can only imagine how people go through that when it's millions and millions of dollars at play, and you can lose sight of like the art form. Yeah. And what you enjoy doing. So that's a continual lesson. Like, we here, we centered, we're doing the thing. Yes, we want to put an enterprise around the art, but not have the enterprise be the art. Right. Like, that's not the point of it, Right.
Because it becomes inauthentic.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. And that's one of our pillars when we started. Because
authenticity.
We were very big on that, like being 100%. Ourselves, showing up as ourselves, growing, and then like encouraging and inspiring others to do the same.
Yeah. 100%. That's dope.
Sometimes I'm like, if we could go back now, what would we do differently,
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
What guest, topic, or conversation sparked the most engagement? Whether that be like positive response or like drama.
Most engagement. Oh. Dang. I feel like, it might have been Columbus.
I was going to say that.
The only Christopher we acknowledge as Wallace. That might have been the episode, because people were I think we were talking about the start of the country and like, the country being stolen or, taking credit as if it was theirs or whatever. And someone was like, what do you know about the rights of this country and blah, blah, just going off spewing like misinformation or whatever. We get a lot of hate when we talk about anything very direct about blackness or America and America being trifling or anything like that.
Yeah, I think, and I definitely got into my Twitter fingers.
Twice a year, every decade, I'd say he gets Twitter fingers.
Yeah, had to, and that I'm trying to see other ones on here, but that definitely that one was one. Because, people was, in their feelings, and Columbus did this and that. But it's like the facts are the facts. That, that man he got lost. that man got lost, pulled up somewhere where he didn't even know where he was, and then helped steal land.
Right. And then, I mean, he wrote things about how he described the people as like timid and like easily manipulated.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who's defending him?
So yeah, people hated that episode.
Yeah.
But actually, they loved the episode. They were hating on the content.
Yeah.
The other ones, remember AAVE? That one got a lot of love. African American vernacular English actually got a lot of love.
It did. It was actually, it surprised me a little bit.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I'm like, this is not a new concept. It might be a different term, but not new information.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people judge what they don't know.
Yeah.
So not understanding that a lot of the language or usage has a real meaning is probably where that came from. So it's like,
yeah. And there was a lot of white folks like, oh my God, I didn't know this. I mean, I'm just keeping it a buck with y'all. A lot of white people like, oh my God, like, okay, this is good learning. I didn't know the history. Yeah. So that was really what it was. People like, in a safe way, being able to get into blackness and not have to be like, let me ask my black friend what this meant. So that's a lot of it. And then us being like, oh yeah, I didn't even notice that. We do that.
Yeah. The double talk, the bees, all of that had me like, huh, I don't talk like this on a regular basis.
That was huge. Yeah, that was good. Wak, we want to ask you this question too. You got any particular episode that stood out to you as like, yo, this was the main one?
I would have to say, for me, it was the black and white spaces, only because you were having open dialogue with people who were, in fact, having experiences that people didn't know existed, you know, or at least didn't see it from that point of view. So I'm not sure like what that entailed as far as, you know, conversations on the outside and how people responded to it, but obviously it was those were the ones that I sat back, observed, and was like really honed in on the conversation, because it came from the perspective. You can't deny someone's perspective, you know, and I think that is what resonates the most with listeners, right? It was authentic, it was real, and it was a thought process that not everyone was aware of.
Yeah. So, I thought you were gonna say the one with we did the movies. Oh, remember we had Chanel come on? That was about Black Panther.
Oh,
we did that
gosh.
one. Then we did our top 10 movies and actors and all that. That was a good one.
Those were fun.
I'm still mad. I just don't understand people. It's
like, y'all got tight because I had the phenomenal pick of Kerry Washington as my top 10.
Between you and J-Lo over there, I'm just, in my mind, I'm like, why must we go with what everyone says? Like, the majority always follows the majority. Stop it. Let's do a little different. Y'all just hated on my list.
I didn't have J-Lo. I had Kerry Washington.
I had
J-Lo.
And in my mind, they were equated. Though I will say, Kerry Washington is she's a fantastic actress.
Yeah.
I just didn't
not so much.
I didn't think she's the top 5. That's all I was saying.
My dad, so my pops, y'all, he was like, really, dog, Kerry Washington. He was tight.
She is phenomenal. But I'm like, over Viola?
Yo,
I wouldn't have said it.
My pops was like, I can't believe you represented us like that. You making the family look bad with Kerry Washington.
Yeah. So I'm talking about.
Yes.
Hey, I feel like I have to save myself on this because I had to represent for the Puerto Ricans at least a tiny bit.
Okay.
You know? So that's the only real reason, because I know she ain't.
Brother was biased.
I'm not gonna judge you loudly.
Go back and listen to that episode, y'all.
Confident there are others. Anyway.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Oh, I was like, J-Lo, what's wrong with y'all?
Can I change for Zoe Saldana? Too late? Never mind.
Definitely too late after that Oscar win.
Hey, that joint is it's cemented. You can go back and see that episode. Yo, that's hilarious.
That Black Panther Forever conversation,
that was good.
That was great.
Yeah, Chanel had a great.
I still haven't rewatched it, and I don't know if I could bring myself to do it.
Cause I miss my man's
Chadwick too much.
Yeah, I miss Chadwick, man.
Chad.
But okay, well, I appreciate you. Okay, this is a good question. So let's maybe blend these together. The hardest moments that were in the seasons, right? What were the hardest moments? And then have you ever thought about quitting?
The hardest moments in the season, like in the episode, or just going through the season in total?
Just in general, what were the hardest moments of the podcast? Have you ever thought about quitting? And if not, obviously we didn't quit. What kept us going?
Yeah, I could blend that together because I I don't think I thought about quitting. I thought about it ending.
Oh,
You know, like it almost naturally would come to a point where we look at each other like there's nothing more. Like there's nowhere further for us to go.
right.
And I thought it was gonna happen a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. I think that was just like based off the season we were in. I think we were like so busy, and like we weren't like fighting or anything. It was just like we didn't really have time to put this as a priority at some point. And I thought I could have swore. I was like, oh. And then I was accepting it because I didn't want to be heartbroken about it ending. I was just like, we've reached that point and that is our time. And I don't know what happened. It was like a resurgence of energy. Life has settled a little bit and then we kind of came back. But yeah, I never thought about actually quitting though.
Interesting. Why not?
Why not? Well, I think this is like a good release sometimes, you know? It's like it's nice to be around people who are like-minded. Is a creative outlet, because like I used to write poetry and I haven't written in years. Now I seem to just talk and I need to let it out. Yeah, I enjoy this. I think it's funny. Like,
Yeah.
It's good times.
Yeah. Interesting.
What are you thinking? Your face is giving me, I'm thinking something.
Nah, I'm just listening. That's a good point. Like, yeah.
Same question to you.
If I think the hardest part about the podcast in general is, again, not getting caught up in trying to, let's follow the trends. Cause I just said this before, like, all right, when this episode went out, it got mad listens and this got mad views, so let's like stay on these topics and do that. And that's kind of like a music artist trying to chase the trend. And it's like, but that's not what got you on. Now, people got to evolve, but you should not be chasing the trend. So sticking to the art form and not trying to like get swept up in this is going to get us more listens and views. That's been the hardest. And to not get sucked into that. The thing about quitting, for sure, but it was mainly about like, let me reframe it. Nothing about quitting, thinking about not wanting to jump the shark, as they say, and it'd be like, bro, y'all should have stopped 4 seasons ago. And you get up and it's like season 33, and like the name got to change. It's like you know what I'm saying. Y'all just figured it out in black. Ain't no more young out here. But not legit though. So it's like just thinking about just when it's the right time to not jump the shark.
Yeah.
But at the same time, navigating it, finding the time and the capacity, and I'm in a different part of Vermont and having to drive down in this part of Vermont, that joint's just like some energy.
It can be a lot. Yeah.
And
tasking.
So, but when I get here, it's like, man, okay. It's dope. Like once I'm doing it, it's like, yeah, this is lit. But
yeah.
The times leading up to it, trying to fit into the schedule, all that.
Yeah.
That'd be the hard. That's the stuff that people do not see.
Yeah. It's like they don't know when we're like exhausted or sleepy or like running on fumes.
And doing the meetings and doing all this.
And we're like, we made it. But yeah. And we hope that you never know if those are those things are happening.
There's probably a couple episodes and they're like, bro, yawning. this guy is out of there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man.
All right, couple more and then we'll get up out of here. So let's ask about our audience. Like, what impact do you think, if any, we've had on the audience?
I wish I could remember specific episodes. I feel like we'll drop episodes sometimes, and depending on who it resonates with, they'll reach out. Like I got a text a week ago from someone who I'm really cool with, but we don't talk very often. I see them maybe once a year. Yeah. And she just hit me up and said, I just want to thank you again for this podcast. I've been learning so much. And it means something to me when people say things like that.
Facts.
Because it's like, I don't know what episode, I don't know what was said that did something for you. But the fact that we had that idea, put it forth, and it is blessing other people means so much. I think we both live in a space of, I want to help. I want to see better with people around us. And if we can help in this way, praise God. I'm so thankful. But look at me, ready to tear up.
I called it. I knew she was going to be crying.
I was just like, I can't believe that it means something to you. Like it means as much to me,
Yeah, for sure. And, that's why for me, that's a big part of why I want to do it, is I want to impact people. So I want to say I expect, but I hope that that's the case. Yeah, I think so. To your point, so you basically saying like you're not 100% sure the impact, but you know it's had some type of impact based on the response you got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I really, the thing that I've seen is that I valued the most, because I've definitely had people come up like, yo, I want to talk about this. Or somebody the other day when we were talking about navigating DE&I, he's like, nah, man, you said that DE&I started in this time, it started at that time. And even that conversation, before I went back to defend what I was saying, I'm like, bro, thank you for listening, bro.
Oh, wow.
No, like, yeah, like, I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? So, but the fact that sparked him to want to like have a dialogue, even if he didn't agree, I always appreciated that, because like, oh, you listened to that enough.
Right.
Then I've had other people ask questions or follow up or say like, yeah, thank you for this and what's going on. But what impacts me the most, or did, is like my pops. So in the very beginning, pops don't be listening now, but he.
Nah, my parents neither. They used to be
Yeah,
on
he used to
it.
be on it, dog. Hey, I'm gonna say this now. Maybe this could be a clip. Pops, if you can hear me. But my mom's listening because she just called me before the joint. But Pops, the fact that you done gave up listening, dog, that's crazy. Like, you got to step that up, dog.
It's like you needed the support in the beginning. I had you. Now,
now you on your own. Like, you out the nest. It's like, nah, get back on them episodes, baby. We need the numbers and the sponsorship. But no, like in the very beginning,
yo,
I would say it's just facts, though. It's like
it's the sponsorship. You're right.
Hey.
Whew,
but not in the very beginning when we first was dropping, like I'm ready to can men and women be friends, and the answer is obviously yes. And anybody who don't think so, like, you tripping. But he called me like, nah, dog, you know my pop's dog.
Yeah.
Nah, yeah, like, let's talk about this. And by the end of it, I think I got him to like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. But we did it about multiple episodes, and it actually brought me and my pops closer because he got to hear my like pure thoughts. And I think at that point in time, 5 years ago, I think that helped him to like resonate with, oh, my son is an adult.
yes.
Like, I've been grown, but like, oh no, my son is an adult.
Because I can now see it from that perspective.
Yeah, and that was like, that was dope to see what the podcast was sparking.
Yeah.
Was the dialogues, and that happened with multiple people in my family, including my mom. Like, my mom literally just before the podcast said, yo, that Remembering 44 episode, the what she said, what you learned this week. She's like, yo, that was speaking to me. I'm like, what'd I say? I'm like, yo, I don't even remember what the hell I was talking about. But thank you, Mom. We appreciate that. But
That's
it's
so
like,
real.
yeah, I'm like, what happened? But so yeah, I like them with the family.
Yeah.
Because people get to see us in a different light that they never seen us before.
That's a really good point. And I forgot because my parents did definitely stop watching. They were heavy. Heavy season 1, 2, maybe 3 in the beginning.
So it was tapering.
Trickle down. It's like, we're tired of hearing you, I guess. Like, I think they got tired of hearing me. But but I felt like my dad, for the first time, really expressed that he was proud of me. And, he probably felt it for times, but never really said it. He doesn't talk that much. And I was like, oh my God, like the fact that my father feels that way. And then my mom doesn't say it herself either. She generally will sign me up for things that I don't want to do, and will tell other people and then give my number out or start to tell people, hey, yes, call her because she will be available to do this. And that keeps happening. And I'm like, I love you dearly, but there has to be a better way. Because she's like, look, you hear she speak? And then she's like, yeah, the people like what you have to say. So here. So I really appreciate it. I must say, it's like, thank you guys for loving me and being proud.
But don't give out that number, though. Yeah, that's hilarious. I feel that, though. Yeah, that's and people actually was hitting me up like, yo, you think Mo could be my therapist? I'm like, no. Like, I'm not about to plug you. Like, what? Like, y'all know me. Then you'll be telling my secrets out here.
Yeah, it's like, they're too close.
Nah, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's what's up, though. So, yeah. But, yeah, so more of that story is, parents, we need y'all to step that back up.
We miss you.
Yeah, come back. So, all right, so last question. What do you think is the future of the YBF podcast?
YBF.
Where we headed?
Okay, so I think we expand. I just don't know what that expansion looks like. Again, I will always say I'm not the visionary, right? I'm very much more the details. But I can see us either branding this to others in different pockets or different ways. Like, I know we talked about nonprofit, but I don't know if it became something more where like youth are able to do things, that would mean something to me.
Yeah.
I just can't tell you what those things are.
No, I like that. I think the idea again of having like a bridge program, summer program that, you know, well now with the government, how stuff going, had to be young and figuring it out. But something like that would be dope, you know, where we can actually help people like get exposure to certain things, and maybe even podcasting as an example.
Right. That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be a cool thing. I think that's the first thing. And the second thing, I know we've just talked about this recently, just hot off the press, but it's like revamping some space in the studio we got in Vermont, looking to like transition to a different space, change the layout, do some things with the conversation, work through that. So, and I think that'd be dope.
Yeah.
Like kind of like changing the you know, backdrop, layout, style, whatnot, just kind of evolving. I know we got to talk about more, but I think that's the future.
Yeah.
Like an evolution.
Yeah, like the podcast is growing up.
Yeah.
Along with us.
Yeah. Joint is grown.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, listen, I do want to say before we get up out of here, we appreciate folks listening and tapping in, and appreciate all the people who contributed. You know what I'm saying? Thank you to Walk and Say So, and you know, literally so many other people, all the people who are supporters in that. Like honestly, that it does mean a lot.
Right. Shout out to our #1 fans in Germany and Vermont. Like my sister as well. Just all these people who really consistently show up.
Yeah, not legit. And the people like, we actually, when we look at our wrap up, like it's people in multiple countries and different things. We actually do appreciate that's a big deal. You know what I'm saying?
And they do reach out, and we love to hear from you. So keep talking to us, you know?
Yeah, we appreciate y'all. So listen, y'all might be listening like, what in the world are they talking about? Listen, y'all, we might be right.
We might be wrong.
But at the end of the day,
we just young, black, and figuring it out.
Tough.
CC on the track, boy.